This video is about she drove to the flower shop and a rich stranger returned her lost scarf. If this story touches your heart, please mention where you are watching from in the comments. Please like the video and share your thoughts in comments. The cold wind rustled through the trees, sending a shiver up Alina's spine as she stepped out of her car. She pulled her jacket tighter, half-heartedly checking her reflection in the side mirror. Today was important. She had a meeting with a potential client, and the last thing she wanted was to appear disheveled. The sign above the door of the small flower shop read "Petals and Blooms," adorned with soft pastel colors that promised warmth and comfort inside. The scent of fresh flowers wafted through the air, mingling with the crisp autumn breeze as she pushed open the door. "Welcome." A friendly voice chimed from behind the counter. It was a young woman with bright red hair, her apron dusted with petals and bits of greenery. "What can I help you with today?" Alina stepped further inside, captivated by the vibrant arrangement surrounding her. "I am looking for something special for a business meeting," she replied, her eyes scanning the colorful displays. "Something that's as professional yet approachable?" the woman asked, tilting her head slightly. "Yes, exactly. I want to impress without being too over the top." As she considered her options, Alina felt the sudden gust of wind from the open door. A familiar coldness brushed against her neck, and she instinctively reached for her scarf, only to find it missing. Panic surged through her. It was an old cashmere scarf her grandmother had knitted for her, a cherished heirloom. "Is everything all right?" the shopkeeper asked, noticing the change in Alina's demeanor. "I think I lost my scarf," she admitted, her voice tight. "I must have left it in my car. Do you want to take a minute to check?" "No, it is fine," Alina replied, forcing a smile. "Let us just find those flowers." The shopkeeper led her to a section filled with elegant white lilies and blush pink roses. As Alina deliberated, the bell above the door chimed again, and she glanced up. A tall figure entered the shop, shaking off the rain that had begun to fall. He was strikingly handsome, with tousled dark hair and a confident air that made him stand out in the cozy shop. He surveyed the space, his intense blue eyes catching Alina's for a moment. Alina felt a flicker of embarrassment as she turned back to the flowers, her cheeks warming. The shopkeeper approached the newcomer. "Welcome, what can I get for you today?" "I am looking for a bouquet, something stunning but not too flash. My sister is in town for the weekend." "Great, we have some lovely arrangements that would be perfect. I can show you our fall selections." As the two engaged in conversation, Alina couldn't help but steal glances at the man. There was something magnetic about him, an energy that pulled her and yet kept her at bay. She tried focusing on the flowers, but her thoughts kept straying back to him. "Do you have a floral preference?" the shopkeeper asked, bringing Alina back to reality. I think anything classic works," she said, glancing at the man again, who was now examining a bouquet of vibrant sunflowers. "They're cheerful, right?" The shopkeeper nodded. "Definitely, those would brighten anyone's day." The stranger turned towards Alina, an amused smile playing on his lips. "I think you might be right. Sunflowers do hold a certain charm." Alina felt a tingle of excitement at his attention, the connection immediate yet slight. "They're also quite resilient," she replied, her voice steady, despite the flutter in her stomach. "Like us, I suppose," he said, his gaze unwavering. "Weathering the storms and still managing to stand tall." She chuckled softly, surprised by his insight. "That is a nice way to look at it." Just then, the door swung open again, and the wind rushed in, making Alina shiver. In that moment, she remembered her scarf's soft warmth and comforting familiarity. "I really should go check my car," she murmured, fumbling slightly with the flowers she decided on. "Are you all right?" the shopkeeper asked again, concern creeping into her voice. Alina forced a smile, feeling a mixture of embarrassment and frustration. "Yes, I'll be quick." As she stepped outside, the chill hit her again, and she searched the passenger seat desperately. Her heart sank as she found nothing but a crumpled receipt and an empty coffee cup. She turned, a wave of disappointment washing over her as she contemplated the memories attached to the scarf. Looking for something, the rich stranger's voice cut through the air, sending an unexpected thrill down her spine. He stood a few feet away, his hands tucked into his coat pockets, looking effortlessly composed. Alina turned, unable to suppress a smile. "Just my scarf. I think I lost it." He stepped closer, his presence warm against the cool air. "I think I may have seen a scarf like that," he said, eyes sparkling with mischief. "It was very beautiful." "What do you mean?" she asked, intrigued despite herself. He leaned against her car nonchalantly, his gaze piercing yet playful. "I was walking by a few blocks back and saw something fluttering in the wind. Could it be the same scarf?" Her heart raced as he extended a hand, revealing her lost scarf, its edges frayed slightly but still retaining its charm. You had a lucky escape. Alina took a step towards him, her fingers brushing against his as she reclaimed the scarf. Thank you. I was worried I'd never see it again. It is special to me. Family heirloom, he asked, his brow slightly raised, revealing a hint of curiosity. Something like that, she replied, a small laugh escaping her. How did you know? I have a knack for sensing things, he said, his tone teasing. Especially things that hold sentimental value. Alina felt a blush creeping up her cheeks, conscious of how close they stood. There was an unmistakable chemistry, an electric pull that made her heart race and her thoughts scatter. Are you always this charming with strangers? She asked, unable to hide her smile. Only when I am lucky enough to meet someone intriguing, he replied, his voice low and rich, sending a thrill through her. They stood there, the air thick with unspoken words and unacknowledged tension, the world around them fading into a blur. She could feel the weight of his gaze, the way it made her pulse quicken. The shopkeeper called out from inside, breaking the moment. Alina, are you ready? Alina glanced back, torn between the budding connection and her responsibilities. I should go, she started, feeling the moment slip away. Of course, he said softly, stepping back but not without a lingering gaze that promised more. But if you ever want to discuss sunflowers or scarves, I am around. Alina managed to smile, her heart fluttering like the leaves caught in the autumn wind. I might take you up on that. As she turned to walk back inside, she felt his eyes on her, igniting a flame of curiosity and excitement. She wondered if this fleeting encounter could become something more, if the stranger could become a part of her story. But for now, she had to focus on the meeting ahead. And perhaps, just perhaps, on rethinking the meaning of resilience. As Alina stepped back into petals and blooms, the warmth enveloped her, a stark contrast to the chill that had clung to her moments ago. She could still feel the lingering touch of the stranger's fingers as they brushed against hers, sending a jolt of warmth through her. The shopkeeper, noticing the slight flush in her cheeks, raised an eyebrow. You seem to have an interest in conversation out there, she said with a knowing smile, arranging a bouquet of white lilies. Who was that guy? Alina's heart raced at the thought of him. Just a passerby, she replied, trying to sound casual. He returned my scarf. Just a passerby? The shopkeeper chuckled, clearly unconvinced. He looked like he walked straight out of a magazine. You retelling me that, didn't he spark anything? Alina hesitated, a smile tugging at the corners of her mouth. Maybe a little, she admitted, her gaze drifting back to the door as she thought of the way his eyes had held hers. But it's nothing. I have a meeting to focus on. Sure, but don't underestimate a chance meeting. Those can lead to the most beautiful things, the shopkeeper said, her voice taking on a softer tone. Sometimes you just have to let life surprise you. Alina couldn't shake the feeling of longing that had settled in her chest. She selected a bouquet of delicate pink roses and white lilies, hoping it would convey the right message to her client. Her thoughts, however, kept straying back to the charming stranger outside, the way he had leaned against her car, his confidence both alluring and intimidating. As she paid for the flowers, she felt a strange mix of excitement and anxiety. What if their paths crossed again? The thought sent a rush of warmth through her, but it was quickly cooled by the reality of her responsibilities. She had a meeting to handle, and work had always come first. Alina arrived at the cafe where she was to meet her client, the vibrant hum of conversations buzzing around her. She settled into a corner table, arranging the flowers in front of her. They were beautiful and fresh, just like the feelings that lingered from her encounter at the flower shop. Her client, an older woman with a sharp business acumen, arrived shortly after. Sorry to keep you waiting, she said, taking a seat and glancing at the bouquet. Those are stunning. Are they for me? Alina chuckled, shaking her head. Just a little something to brighten the meeting. Nice touch. So, let us hear your ideas, the woman said, pulling out notes. I am eager to see what you've come up with. As Alina began to pitch her ideas, she struggled to concentrate. Images of the stranger's blue eyes flashed in her mind, making it difficult to focus. She could feel the weight of the meeting pressing down on her, the need to impress her client battling against an overwhelming sense of distraction. Are you listening? Her client's voice broke through her thoughts, impatience creeping into her tone. Of course. Alina replied, forcing a smile and trying to shake the lingering thoughts of the day's earlier encounter. I just what? You seem preoccupied, her client pressed, eyeing her carefully. I am fine, Alina insisted, pushing the flowers aside and focusing harder. But the tension in the air was palpable, and she felt the need to justify herself. It is just a busy day, that is all. Her client sighed, leaning back in her chair. You know, Alina, it is important to stay focused. You have to own your space in this industry. Don't you let distractions throw you off course. Alina nodded, swallowing a lump in her throat. I understand. Thank you for the advice. After the meeting wrapped up, Alina left the cafe feeling a mix of relief and frustration. She had done well, but the connection she had felt Thello lingered in the back of her mind. She couldn't shake the feeling that she had missed something important, something that could have blossomed. The next few days passed in a blur of work and responsibility. Yet, no matter how hard she tried to bury her thoughts, the memory of the stranger haunted her. His playful smile, the way he had held her gaze, it was all too intoxicating to forget. On a particularly dreary Thursday afternoon, Alina found herself back at Petals and Blooms, this time to grab a small bouquet for a friend's birthday. As she stepped inside, the familiar scent of flowers filled her lungs, instantly lifting her spirits. Back again? The shopkeeper grinned at her from behind the counter. Can't resist, Alina replied, moving towards the vibrant displays. I may have a slight obsession with flowers. Nothing wrong with that, the woman said, her eyes sparkling. You never know who you might run into. Alina felt her heart flutter. I think I need to focus on flowers, not strangers. Sure, but if you happen to run into him again, the shopkeeper trailed off, a teasing smile on her lips. Then what? Alina asked, a laugh escaping her lips despite the nervous flutter in her stomach. Maybe you could invite him to share the flowers with you, she said with a wink. You know, a sweet gesture. Alina rolled her eyes playfully. I am not that bold. Sometimes you have to be. Life is too short to play safe, the shopkeeper said. But I'll let you think about it. Just then, the door swung open, and in stepped the very stranger who had returned his scarf, looking effortlessly handsome in a crisp grey coat. His eyes scanned the room until they landed on her, a genuine smile breaking across his face. Fancy seeing you again, he said, his voice smooth like honey, sending a rush of heat through her cheeks. Alina swallowed hard, her heart racing. I could say the same. I am just here to grab flowers. Good choice, he replied, stepping closer, his presence filling the space between them. You have great taste. Thanks, she replied, her voice barely above a whisper. The flowers felt suddenly too vibrant, too alive, compared to the quiet tension between them. Have you ever thought about the meaning behind flowers? He asked, tilting his head slightly. Like why people choose certain ones? Alina nodded, intrigued. Yeah, I think they convey emotions we sometimes struggle to express, roses for love, lilies for purity. He stepped a little closer, his gaze locked on hers. And sunflowers for warmth and adoration, he added, his tone dropping slightly. It is funny how a simple flower can hold so much significance. Her breath caught in her throat, and the air around them felt charged with unspoken possibilities. You seem to know a lot about this. I like to think I have a romantic side, he said, a playful smirk on his lips. Their eyes held each other's gaze, and for a brief moment, the world around them faded into insignificance. Alina felt the warmth of attraction pulling in her chest, but she quickly reminded herself of her responsibilities. I really should get back to my work, she finally said, the words feeling like a reluctant admission of reality. Of course, he replied, stepping back but still holding her gaze. But it was great seeing you again. I hope you picked something lovely. Alina nodded, feeling a strange combination of excitement and disappointment as she turned towards the flower displays. Thanks, I will. As she moved to select her bouquet, she felt his eyes on her, the weight of his gaze igniting a sense of hope within her. Perhaps this wasn't just a fleeting moment. Perhaps it could turn into something more. But deep down, the doubts crept in. What if he was just being polite? What if their worlds were too different? She grabbed a small arrangement of daisies and lavender, trying to push those doubts aside as she made her way to the counter. Did you find what you were looking for? The shopkeeper asked, noticing her distracted state. It's just a simple bouquet, Alina replied, but her heart wasn't in her words. The encounter with a stranger had stirred something in her, something she had buried beneath layers of work and responsibility. As she paid for the flowers, she wondered if she should take the leap. Maybe she could see him again, maybe there was a chance for something more than just a fleeting meeting. As she left the shop, the autumn wind rustled around her, carrying the scent of flowers and the promise of what could be. Alina! The stranger's voice called out as she stepped outside, breaking her thoughts. She turned, her heart racing again. I've been meaning to ask what is your name? Alina, she replied, a nervous smile spreading across her face. I am Daniel, he said, taking a step closer. And I think we should get to know each other a little better. A thrill ran through her, but she hesitated, caught in a whirl of emotions. I do like that, she admitted, feeling the spark of connection ignite once more. Great, maybe we could grab coffee sometime, he suggested, his expression earnest, as if he were laying his cards on the table. I do love that, she replied, the promise of something beautiful beginning to bloom between them. As they exchanged numbers, Alina felt the weight of her debts lifting. Daniel S. Alina stood outside the flower shop, the cool autumn air swirling around her like a gentle embrace. Daniel's presence filled the space between them, electric and intoxicating. She could feel her heart pounding in her chest, each beat resonating with the promise of something new. Coffee it is, then, Daniel said, his voice steady, but she could sense the excitement masked beneath his calm demeanor. How about tomorrow? There's a cozy little cafe nearby that serves the best espresso. Sure, Alina replied, her words tumbling out, a mix of eagerness and nerves. Ivy heard good things about that place. Perfect, I'll pick you up at 10, he suggested, his eyes sparkling with anticipation. Her heart fluttered at the prospect of seeing him again. Yes, that sounds great, she said, unable to hide the smile spreading across her face. They exchanged numbers, the small act feeling monumental, a bridge connecting their separate lives. See you tomorrow then, he said, taking a step back, giving her space, but his gaze lingered on her for a moment longer. The warmth of his attention enveloped her like a soft blanket. Goodbye, Daniel, she replied, her voice barely above a whisper as she turned to walk away. As she drove home, her mind replayed their conversation. The way he had leaned against her car, how genuine his smile had felt, it was as if the air between them had held a warmth she hadn't encountered in a long time. But nestled within that warmth was a coil of anxiety. What would tomorrow bring? Would the connection they felt in those fleeting moments translate into something deeper? The sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of pink and gold, but the beauty outside couldn't mask the uncertainty bubbling within her. She parked her car in the driveway and stepped inside her apartment, the familiar surroundings grounding her. As she placed the bouquet of daisies on the kitchen counter, she caught her reflection in a window. Get a grip, Alina, she muttered to herself, trying to shake off the mix of excitement and dread. It's just coffee. But deep down, she felt the stakes were higher than just a casual meeting. That evening, she carefully laid out her outfit, choosing a soft cream sweater that reminded her of the flowers. After a restless night filled with dreams of sunflowers swaying in the breeze, morning arrived, and with it a tangle of anticipation. At 10 o'clock sharp, there was a late knock at her door. Alina's heart raced as she opened it to find Daniel standing there, looking effortlessly handsome in a navy sweater and fitted jeans. He held a small bouquet of sunflowers in his hand, their bright faces beaming in defiance of the autumn gloom. For you, he said, presenting them with a flourish. Thought these might brighten your day. Alina felt her breath hitch, the warmth of his gesture flooding her with a mixture of happiness and shyness. They were beautiful, she replied, accepting the flowers with a smile. Thank you. Ready to go? He asked, his voice low and inviting. Absolutely, she said, feeling emboldened by his presence. They walked together to his car, the air thick with an undercurrent of unspoken feelings. As they drove towards the cafe, they exchanged stories. Daniel spoke of growing up in the city, his family's influence, and the challenges he faced as he carved out his own path. Alina shared her journey, the way her grandmother's love for flowers had inspired her to build a life around them. But it is not just about the flowers for me, she said, her voice growing earnest. It is about the connections they create, the emotions they express. Daniel nodded, his eyes focused on the road ahead. I get that. It is like people, sometimes we read just as layered and complex. You never see all of it at first glance. Alina felt a blush creeping up her cheeks as she turned to look at him. That is a beautiful way to think about it. He chuckled softly, the sound warm and genuine. I try. Life is too short for superficial connections, don't you think? Definitely, she agreed, her heart swelling at the insight in his words. The cafe came into view, a quaint little spot bustling with people. They found a table by the window, sunlight streaming through, casting a warm glow over them. So, what do you usually order? Daniel asked, glancing at the menu. I am a fan of the cappuccino, but their pastries are pretty great too, she replied, biting her lip in thought. What about you? Can't he go wrong with a classic black coffee, he said, his expression playful. Straightforward, like me. Their laughter mingled in the air, creating an invisible thread that drew them closer. As they placed their orders, Alina felt her nerves begin to fade, replaced by a sense of comfort and connection. Their drinks arrived, and as they sipped, the conversation flowed effortlessly. They discussed their favorite books, movies, and travel destinations, their eyes sparkling with shared enthusiasm. Each moment felt like a tiny victory, a step deeper into each other's worlds. But amidst the laughter, Alina felt a flicker of uncertainty. Daniel had a charm that was both enchanting and intimidating. "Did you ever think about where you re-headed?" she asked, probing gently. "In life, I mean." He paused, his expression turning contemplative. "Sometimes it is hard not to, especially when you're trying to establish yourself, but I believe in taking things one step at a time." Alina nodded, appreciating his grounded perspective. "That is a healthy way to look at it. And what about you?" Daniel leaned forward, curiosity sparking in his eyes. "What is your 5-year plan?" She chuckled softly, feeling the weight of the question. "Honestly, I am still figuring it out. I love my job, but I sometimes wonder if there is more I could do. I just want to make a difference, you know?" He nodded, his gaze earnest. "That is admirable. I think finding that more is part of the journey, not just the destination." A flicker of warmth ignited between them, and for a moment the caff faded away. Just the two of them, held in a moment of understanding that felt both rare and precious. But then, as if on cue, the moment was shattered. A group of loud patrons entered the caff, their boisterous laughter ringing through the air. Alina's gaze shifted, and a wave of awkwardness washed over her. She could feel her confidence start to wane, and she fidgeted with her hands. "It looks like they were here to have a good time," Daniel remarked, his tone light, but she could see the shift in her demeanor. "Yeah, I guess," she replied, forcing a smile. "It is a popular spot." He watched her curiously, his brow furrowing slightly. "You alright? You seem a bit distracted." "I am fine," she insisted, but the words felt hollow. "Just thinking." "About what?" He pressed gently, his concern palpable. Alina hesitated, caught between honesty and fear. "I guess I am just overthinking everything, whether I am making a good impression or not." Daniel's expression softened. "You are doing great, Alina. I am having a really good time." "Really?" she asked, her heart fluttering. "Absolutely," he replied, sincerity lacing his words. "I mean, it is refreshing to connect with someone who thinks deeply." Her cheeks warmed at the compliment, but self-doubt crept back in. "I just hope I am not too much of a mess for you." "A mess?" He laughed, shaking his head. "You are far from that, but if you ever feel overwhelmed, just let me know. I promise I am not going anywhere." His words settled around her like a warmth she hadn't known she craved. But just as quickly her insecurities flared again. "I appreciate that, but I can't help but worry. What if this is just a fleeting moment in time?" Daniel leaned closer, his voice dropping to a softer tone. "Then let us make the most of it, no pressure." Alina felt her breath hitch, the intimacy of the moment wrapping around them. "Okay, no pressure," she repeated, her heart racing. They finished their drinks, laughter bubbling between them as the conversation shifted to lighter topics. Yet the emotional tension lingered, crackling like electricity in the air. As they left the caff, the autumn sun bathed them in warmth, and Alina felt a surge of hope. Perhaps this wasn't just a fleeting encounter. Daniel felt different, like a possibility wrapped in mystery and charm. Daniel walked her to her car, the air humming with unspoken words. "So, same time next week?" he asked, his expression hopeful. "I do love that," she replied, her heart soaring at the prospect of seeing him again. He stepped closer, their bodies almost brushing against each other. "Good, because I am really enjoying getting to know you, Alina." The warmth between them felt electric as Alina's heart raced in response. "Me too," she admitted, finding courage in his gaze. "Until next time, then," he said, his voice slow and inviting as he leaned in slightly, making her pulse quicken. Alina walked through her apartment, the warmth of Daniel's presence still lingering like an elusive perfume. She replayed their conversations, the way their laughter intertwined, creating a melody that resonated within her heart. There was something about him, a charm that both intrigued and intimidated her. After years of focusing solely on her career and protecting her heart, she felt the stirrings of something she hadn't allowed herself to feel in a long time. As she settled on the couch, still cradling the sunflower bouquet he had given her, she breathed in their fresh scent, allowing herself to bask in the lightness of the moment. But beneath that joy lurked a familiar uncertainty. What if this connection was just a fleeting distraction? She had always been cautious, protecting herself from potential heartache. A sudden knock on her door pulled her from her thoughts. She opened it to find her best friend, Lee, standing there with a knowing smile. I could sense the excitement from a mile away, she teased, stepping inside and taking a seat across from her. So, how was the coffee date? It was great, Alina replied, a smile breaking across her face despite the anxious flutter in her stomach. He is really charming in there. And? Lee leaned in, her eyes sparkling with curiosity. Alina hesitated, her excitement tempered by the nagging doubts that whispered in her mind. I don't know, he feels different, but what if I am just reading too much into it? What if he is not really interested? The yes expression shifted, becoming serious. Listen, if he was just a casual fling, he wouldn't have given you flowers, he wouldn't have taken the time to connect with you like that. I know, Alina said, biting her lip. But I've never moved this fast before. What if I ruin it by overthinking? Then don't overthink it, Lee advised, her tone encouraging. Just let it happen naturally. Enjoy the moment without worrying about the future. Alina considered her words, feeling the weight lift slightly. You're right, I need to just see where it goes. Exactly. Now, what are you going to wear for your next date? Lee grinned, already pulling out potential outfits from Alina's closet. As the evening wore on, they picked through clothes and shared laughter, and for the first time in days, Alina felt the burden of doubt begin to lift. She decided to embrace the flutter of attraction that had sparked between her and Daniel. The next day, Alina spent the morning preparing for another meeting with a client. The thoughts of Daniel lingered in her mind. She wondered what he was doing, if he thought of her as much as she thought of him. The familiar tension fed through her stomach, a mix of anticipation and anxiety. When the workday was over, Alina found herself at Petals and Blooms once more, drawn like a moth to a flame. The shop was quieter today, the soft hum of music playing in the background as she wandered through the aisles, admiring the color and life around her. Back again, the shopkeeper called out from behind the counter, her voice warm and welcoming. Alina nodded, a smile on her face. I can stay away. I think I am developing a real obsession. Were you just trying to find the perfect bouquet for a certain someone? The shopkeeper teased, winking knowingly. Alina felt the heat rise to her cheeks. Maybe, she said, a shy smile creeping on her lips. I just want to make a good impression. Flowers are great for that, the shopkeeper replied, her eyes twinkling. What is your plan? I am taking him to dinner tomorrow. I want to surprise him, Alina admitted, her heart racing at the thought of the next encounter. Then I think it is time for something special, the shopkeeper said, moving to a display of rich reds and deep purples. How about a mix of these? They convey romance and passion. As she hopped from one bouquet to another, Alina's phone buzzed in her pocket. She pulled it out to find a message from Daniel, *, how about another coffee tomorrow? I know a great little place with amazing pastries. *. Her heart fluttered at his words, the excitement bubbling up until it spilled over into a smile. She quickly replied, *, I do love that. *. Good news, the shopkeeper asked, looking up with a grin. Very good news, Alina said, her eyes sparkling. Then let us make that bouquet stunning, the shopkeeper said, her hands deftly arranging the flowers. In no time, Alina had a beautiful bouquet in hand, feeling more confident than ever. The following evening, Alina stood before her mirror, carefully adjusting her hair and makeup. She wore a soft pink dress that flowed around her knees, its delicate fabric enhancing the warmth of her complexion. Just as she finished, a knock echoed through her apartment. Coming, she called, opening the door to find Daniel standing there, looking effortlessly dapper in a navy blazer over a fitted shirt and dark jeans. He held a small box of pastries in one hand, his eyes lighting up at the sight of her. Wow, you look amazing, he said, his words wrapping around her like a warm hug. Thank you, you look great too, Alina replied, her pulse quickening. The atmosphere between them crackled, almost tangible, as they exchanged lingering glances. Shall we? Daniel held out his arm, and Alina took it, an exhilarating rush flowing through her as they walked to his car. The world felt electric, full of unspoken promises and possibilities. As they arrived at the cafe, a cozy nook filled with soft lighting and the scent of freshly baked goods, Alina felt a flutter of nerves. Would this be another perfect moment, or would her insecurities creep back in? They settled into a corner table, the ambience intimate and relaxed. Daniel opened the pastry box, revealing an array of delightful treats. I couldn't resist picking these. I know you're a fan, he said, a playful smile tugging at his lips. Thank you, you have impeccable taste, she replied, feeling the warmth spread within her as she picked up a flaky croissant. They dove into conversation, sharing stories and laughter, the connection deepening with each passing moment. But as they talked, Alina noticed a flicker of hesitation in Daniel's eyes, like he was holding back something important. "What's on your mind?" she asked gently, her curiosity piqued. He hesitated, his brow furrowing slightly. I want to make sure we read both on the same page," he finally said, his voice steady but serious. Alina felt her heart race, a mix of excitement and anxiety. "What do you mean?" "About us," he said, his gaze intense. "I really enjoy spending time with you, but I don't want to rush anything. I want it to feel right for both of us." Alina felt the weight of his words, the sincerity evident in his expression. "I appreciate that," she said softly, her heart swelling. "I am just as cautious. I've been hurt before, and I don't want to repeat the same mistakes." Daniel leaned closer, his voice dropping to a whisper. "I understand, but I promise you, I am not like anyone from your past. I want to build something real." His words hung in the air, creating an atmosphere thick with emotion. Alina felt a rush of warmth and hope. "I want that too. I want to explore where this can go." Just then, the door swung open, and in walked a group of loud patrons, their laughter ringing through the cafe. The sudden shift pulled Alina from the moment, and she felt her confidence waver again. Daniel noticed her unease, concern creeping into his gaze. "Are you alright?" "Yeah, I am fine," she replied, forcing a smile. "Just a little distracted." "Distracted by what?" he pressed gently, his eyes searching hers. "Just everything," she admitted, feeling vulnerable. This is all so new and exciting, and I don't want to mess it up." "You're not messing anything up," he assured her, reaching across the table to take her hand, his touch grounding and warm. "We're both figuring this out together." Alina felt the tension in her shoulders ease slightly at his reassurance. "Thank you for being patient with me." "Always," he said, his gaze steady and sincere. As the evening wore on, they continued to navigate their way through laughter and slight discomforts, each moment weaving them closer together. The connection felt more profound, but a lingering tension still hung between them. After finishing their pastries, Daniel suggested a walk to a nearby park, and Alina eagerly agreed. They strolled side by side, the crisp autumn air fragrant with fallen leaves and the faint sound of laughter from nearby children. As they walked, they talked about their dreams and fears, their words flowing freely under the moonlight. But as the conversation deepened, Alina couldn't shake the feeling of vulnerability tugging at her. What if this was too good to be true? "Do you ever think about what's next for you, Daniel?" she asked, her voice tentative. "Sometimes," he replied, glancing at her with a thoughtful expression. "But I prefer to focus on the present. Whatever comes next will come in its own time." Alina nodded, appreciating his perspective.